Hello and welcome to the 7th and final part of my Final Fantasy XIV Deep Dungeon Guide for new players. My name's TSDS, and in this video I'll share all of the coolest tips and tricks that I've learnt for this place while playing. I won't say that every trick is something fantastically clever that you've never heard of, but you might pick up a thing or two that'll help out. To start, we'll take a look at a few mentionable monsters, the type that if you see, you should focus down immediately to avoid problems. The first ones to look out for are the bees, found between floors 1 to 10. These bees behave exactly like the ones in the Sunken Temple and will final sting their target to deal massive damage if left alive for long enough. Next are the palace slimes found on floors 11 to 20. While seemingly harmless, they will use Rapture after a long enough time, instantly killing anyone in the room with them, so don't let their basic appearance fool you. Finally, watch out for the Palace Skatine on floors 21 to 30. These spook owls usually patrol between rooms and will AoE sleep anyone near them before attacking their target. Because it's unlikely that anyone will be running smelling salts, this can get really dangerous if your healer is taken out of action and there are more enemies around. If you see one of these owls about, it's best to take them out when you can. If you want to try hard, bring smelling salts with you and use them on your party if they take a nap. There are other strong monsters around deeper in the palace, but none of them pose as high new player wipe risks, so aren't really worth mentioning. Okay, now then, let's take a look at some actual fucking tips, am I right? Spamming floors 1 to 10 over and over is quite commonly done because they're the easiest floors to clear and the speed of doing so makes the experience pretty decent. If you're just looking to level up a class, you should focus on these floors as they have the quickest queue times. You will eventually need to do some deeper clears to increase your ethereal gear levels though. However, once your gear is strong enough, you should instead spam floors 51 to 60 as they give the best experience after factoring in ease, speed and queue times. Next, while you need a class at level 17 to unlock the palace, once unlocked you can queue for it with any combat class right from level 1, making it the best way to get to level 15 if you prefer leveling in dungeons. Speaking of levels, because your in-palace level is separate from outside, your action bars will be filled with new skills as you reach higher class levels inside. If you're a lower level in your class outside of the palace, it's a good idea to take some time to read up on what new abilities appeared on your hotbar, as you'll likely need some of them to survive deeper levels. You can obviously have a little look during the run, but these are best to check in detail once outside the dungeon so as to not make people wait ages for you. Now then, when it comes to making people wait, new mobs will spawn in occasionally, so if you must go AFK for a bit, do so in a place your group will spend time near, such as cross junctions or inside the Cairn of Passage, as your group can't progress to the next floor if you're not standing in it. Either way, considering how quickly some floors can be cleared, try to avoid AFKing for long. The respawning monsters do mean that you can obtain higher experience levels by waiting for them before teleporting down, but this is only really a tactic used by those running with small groups or solo. In terms of solo, while you can clear rooms pretty easily early on, as you go deeper your ethereal gear level becomes more and more obviously too low level, so you should move as a group or in pairs to avoid wipes. To best improve your chances of surviving, bring a phoenix down with you if your class is not able to revive people. You can only carry one at a time, but a clutch revive will forever engrave your name in the Book of Legends. For other things to bring, healers should 100% always be packing a stack of echo drops to remove the 30-second silence trap effect. Magic users will find these useful as well, and as they can be used on other people, as long as you're really close, they're a good item to bring for anyone. As for the pacification debuff of the trap, melee must suffer through the 30 seconds, unless you have a healer to help you out. Of course, if you echo drop the healer, they can Esner you, and after the run, you can go out for beers. Next up, don't forget that traps are easy to avoid when you can see them, so it's best to remove them when you can't, meaning Pomanders of safety and sight should be used on different floors to maximise efficiency. If traps are still giving you problems, remember that they can only spawn inside rooms, so you can avoid them in fights entirely by pulling monsters to the corridors. And as far as pulling goes, don't pull entire rooms if you can help it. Because of the many patrols and traps, wiping needlessly is a real pain in the arse, so just take small groups at a time. Also, be sure to leave opening chests until after the fight, as nothing sucks more than having one blow up in your face when you've a room of monsters on you. On the flip side, if you've got the health for a trap, don't just ignore Pomander chests. Things like plus 30% more damage or a lust transformation can be extremely useful, but I commonly see players totally ignoring them in deeper levels, for what I can only assume is the sake of speed. When it comes to transformations, if you're the only healer in the group, you should unfortunately avoid using them on boss fights, because you'll very likely need to heal. I don't think I really need to explain how annoying a wipe would be due to that for other players. Continuing with this, if someone in your group is using a Pomander of Rage to clear a floor, you can help them out by sprinting ahead and pulling monsters towards them. As the buff only lasts for a minute and means they are unable to sprint, you'll increase how many mobs they are able to kill if they don't need to run so far for each one. This is obviously better if you're a ranged class or have some spammable ranged attack. Now then, to finish this video, I'll end with 2 final tips, but these are more about your attitude than the palace itself. Firstly, if someone wants to go and get an accursed hoard treasure that's spawned, help them out instead of waiting for them to get back. You'll be getting the treasure as well, and it's both faster and safer that they don't go on their own if it requires clearing rooms. And lastly, and while I heavily doubt this will apply to anyone taking the time to watch this video, just don't be an asshole. Some people like exploring, so if you're wanting to rush badly enough that you'll be a dick about it, run with a fixed party instead. Plus, if people are exploring, you'll speed things up by helping them out instead of waiting at the teleportal. And to those wanting to explore, you'll find that the deeper you go in, the more people will want to just complete things as quickly as possible. So while you can compromise, you may need to accept the wishes of the majority when in a matched party. Them's just the way it is. And that brings us to the end of the video and the end of the guide as a whole. If I've left out any super cool tips or tricks, then feel free to leave them as a comment so other players can share in the info. Hopefully, I filled in most of the holes when explaining about the palace, but if you ever have any questions, feel free to ask as well. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the game.